Hey guys, and welcome to another weekly whip. So this week I haven't actually, well today I haven't been working on any fiber related crafting as in actual crafting, but I have been cleaning and organizing. So we are downstairs in the kids playroom closet. Up here is my net, which used to be on the floor behind me, stacked by the closet door for since we moved in, so over almost three, well, a couple weeks from 3 years ago. Those have been stacked next to this door, and now they are finally up and away. We also have these totes, which these totes were actually in the closet. They weren't organized at all. We'll go through this in a little more detail here in a minute. Gotta make this really quick because it's already 3 p.m. and the littles are up because Leo believes an hour is enough to sleep in a day. And yeah guys, I get no break from them between 7:30 to 9:30 at night. I get this hour and a half break from Leo, and that's all he will give me. And I don't have, outside friends or anything. I have one friend, and I don't really see her most of the year. So, I barely ever get out. So, yeah. So we have, what I've done so far with these totes, I actually have one more tote, but I've gotten something, I want to say the kids spilled something on it because it was the bottom tote that had been out next to the closet door for 3 years, even though they're not allowed to have anything down here. Of course I've found things. But this tote, I believe, is all my yarns that I found that still have labels on it. This tote over here is all the yarns that I found before I had gotten to this one, and I couldn't jam into this one, that had no labels. This one has some miscellaneous projects or started things that are probably going to get frogged. And then there's some other yarn on top of it that I had actually found in a box next to it. That's just the cardboard box that I need to get into this bottom one, but I'm not going to get at this exact moment. And then my box that's missing, I had all these fun things. Sorry, I'm going to be in a little corner. I had to dump that box out, so its contents are basically here on the floor. I did find some yarn I had to toss out. I'm not exactly sure what happened to it. Like I said, it looked like the kids had spilled something. So, of course, my gut reaction wants to say it's moth damage because it was only on wool yarn that was actually had to be thrown out, and that's the main reason I threw it out, is because it was wool yarn. And I didn't want to chance it infecting anything else, although like I said, it's been 3 years that box has sat there and nothing flew out at me, so whatever food source it did find in there, if that's what it was, I don't think it was still there. And it didn't look like it had, if it wasn't moss and it was just some liquid that had weakened the wool fibers and stuff, it didn't look like it had gotten to these mostly acrylic. Now, I want to specify that these are not my whips. This is my grandma's whip. So, this one actually, basically all it needs done is, where was the end? Is it looks like I could just finish off this row. Of course, now I can't find the end. That's the wrong end. But it looked like there might be enough yarn, and I have to look through these things that are over here because, yeah, it's only, what, Was it even knotted off? Or no, that's the other one that's got a knot in it. Well, no, yeah, it's like all the way up to this peak. And it's got just that side, and there's definitely, it looks like enough yarn. There's not a ton, but enough yarn to finish that peak. It probably was finished, and just that since it's been sitting around, I need to, ideally I should put a stitch marker in this to hold it, but I don't have any down here, because like I said, this stuff is all sat for 3 years untouched. But yeah, it's like big enough to use as a blanket. Like I could easily use this as a pet blanket. I don't think we'll ever have babies to use as a baby blanket anymore. But we could definitely use it as a pet bed blanket, you know, but at the same time, it's very sentimental to me because this is something that my grandma worked on. And then, guys, do you want to jump back in time? Again, this is my grandma's work, I believe. Or did I try to mimic something that she did? I don't think, there's no way that I had done. I might have worked on this a little bit, actually. I don't think so, though. Because I know I tried to figure out her chevron stitch, because it was different than the chevron stitch that I had learned. Because hers is solid. Here, I think this one had it too. This one didn't have the holes. And the chevron that I had learned had the, you know, and this was the ripple or wavy pattern. It was no chevron in their day and age. Well, this one has the skips. I don't know if I've looked really in depth at this one, because this I probably got when she passed, because I don't recognize this one. Like I said, there was at least one of these that I think I attempted to learn what she was doing with it. But yeah, a little throwback in coloring there for you. There's no way I have enough of this to actually make anything out of. So I'm thinking, just because I can't part with ripping this all out, but it has, you know, no functional use. I mean, it's maybe a foot wide. I'm thinking of taking it over. Well, I don't even know if we'd have to take it, although I'd have to play with some other stuff before I did it on this one, because this is too precious. But my stepmother-in-law was given a serger that she does not need, and we were told that if we would like a serger, that she would let us pretty much have it on permanent loan. And so I'm thinking that I might take her up on that offer and you play around with that serger, but take a nice section of this and just kind of cut it off and make it into like a picture frame and just hang this on the wall. Because, yeah, that'll give me a piece of grandma. Okay guys, sorry about that. My grandma hasn't been around for a long time. I believe I was pregnant with Sam when we lost her. Because I've been pregnant with a child every time we've lost an important family member. Or at least every time I've been pregnant, we have lost an important family member. Maybe that's the better way around it. With Jeremy, we lost my mother-in-law's mother-in-law. That's a nice little, there was some other ones I think too when I was pregnant with Jeremy, but I can't remember now. Sam was my grandma, and the twins was my husband's grandpa. But yeah, anyways, this is a nice blast from the past. Now this is an actual FO that is down here in the box of mystery. Anyone want to take a wild guess as to what this is? We're going to guess this is Red Heart. Yeah, real fancy expensive yarns here. I know exactly how old this is because this is my prom shawl that I wore for senior prom. And I know that, well, because I made it, basically, because this string that I use to tie it shut and stuff is actually, I wore the same dress 2 years ago in a row, but I had cut this piece off of the actual, you know, like shawl thing that had come with it. Here, let's put it against the witch door. There, that's got a little better contrast. So this was the actual material. Oh, sorry. Whoa, focus. That was, oh, look at that, it's getting, that's actually probably from me cutting it and not from it being over 15 years old. But yeah, this is actual material, not from the dress, but from the shawl thing that matched the dress. But yeah, I used that to make the tie for the shawl that I designed and created myself. Remember, this is in the days before YouTube. Like, was YouTube even actually a site? I can't even remember. But yeah, this is just made from going, hey, I can make something. So yeah, can't really see all too well, you know, since it's just black. But since, you know, I've been able to feel my yarn forever, I don't have the aversion to black yarns. There's something else in this box I wanted to share with you. Okay, anyone want to take a guess to this? Now this, my friends, is the oldest Mo's creation I have. Anything prior to this, my mom had kept and had given away, probably thrown out, said she was donating. Ooh, it's got something on it. I'm gonna have to wash it. I did not notice that yesterday. You know, I wonder if that's the spot I saw yesterday, because this doesn't feel as bad as I remembered it feeling yesterday. I wonder if I just had that one spot, because I was like, it wouldn't be worth frogging because the acrylic was so bad. But over here it doesn't feel so bad, so I think it just needs washed. Anyways, this particular project was for my 4th grade teacher. Now, I thought that this was finished, and I think last year at some point, because I thought this was in the base, or the other side of this closet is the unfinished storage area in the basement. I thought this was over there. So I want to say last year, maybe sometime, I've been going through things and watching Kendra of Hooked by Happenstance. Oh, look. Yeah, this is how wonderful my ends are, guys. And right here, just sitting out there, all proud. Why can I not see? Hand, there we go. Sorry, guys. There's my end. I think I was following her, and good yarn just belong in bad projects. Because yeah, bad project. Guys, this is where I can show you that our ends comes with practice here. Okay guys, see that? It's not quite as bad because you could probably actually block out quite a bit of this. But this is 4th grade me before learning where the corners were. Because I did this on my own. A lot of stuff before this. I always find it funny when people say they started learning with the basic chain when they started to learn crochet, because that is not how I learned. I learned doing single crochets onto an already built thing, and when I got to the corners, my mom took over, turned the corner for me, did a few stitches, and then I continued on the body of the item, and she did all the quote-unquote hard work. But this is probably the first project And like I was saying earlier, I think I started to rip this out because I thought, oh, I'm gonna make this, maybe it was even at the old house I started to, because I found it in the attic, because this was being stored in the attic, which is probably why it's got something on it. I was like, there's no sense in wasting this, but then I have the other part of me that's like, well, this is the like first project and you can't get rid of that. But yeah, so this is so old. What year was I? I graduated 5th grade in 99, or was that, no, that was 8th grade. I was like, some year was a 99. So 98, 97, 96, 95. This project is 20 some years old, guys. Oh, that just cracks me up. So yeah, our teacher was having a baby, obviously. I had figured out that I had made this, I can't show you, but I had made it too wide. So it's actually wider than it is tall in classic young me fashion. Actually still pretty common error. And when I learned to crochet, I learned to only do it in the front or back loop. I can't even remember. You know, if I could find the end, I could show you. But yeah, all my work is only in one loop, and it does actually give this a really fun texture. But, ooh, that looks like an error. Maybe not. Maybe it's just kind of bumbled up together. But yeah, that was a funny one. And then I have one more thing that we'll probably have to stop camera again on, because I'm going to get a little emotional again. But this I just think is fun and funny, and yeah. The oldest Mo project. Okay guys, and now this has been my emotional struggle for the week. Again, I thought this was in the stuff on the other side of the wall so that I would not run into this project. But I ran into it. And I posted on Instagram, and I want to thank you, Rena, for getting me. And I think it's not another comment, but I haven't actually looked at it. And I want to say maybe it was you, Dana, that said something and actually got it. And then my friend back in the town I grew up in, she got it to an extent. This project is older than Jeremy. It has a corner done. This corner is actually done, but the rest of it is doomed to never be done. Or at least never to be done as intended. Yeah, there is no actual pattern for this. It was something I was making up as I went. I knew I wanted to do a color progression thing, and the problem with that was at the time I was doing this, I was already losing vision and should not have set my heights on something quite this elaborate. But I also was very adventurous, and there's just some days you have to admit defeat on those plans. Sorry guys for having to stop and start. I knew this was gonna be hard. So this is what I have left for yarn for this project. I'm not sure, there's one of these skeins I found separated from the rest, so I'm not sure that it's all the same. And there's some little odds and ends that are like still attached to the blanket itself. But yeah, even though I can tell the difference of these like together enough to know like, but I can't. I can't do it in the body of this blanket. I mean, I know it's beautiful, and that's why I posted it on social media more. I don't know if I just needed validation or what. I thought maybe it'd be easier to, you know, get over it if I could just get it out. And everyone pretty much said, "Oh, that's beautiful." I'm like, yes, it was, but that's why the rest of the comment is there about how I can't do anything with it. But thinking about it, and I have no idea if there's enough yarn to even do this, because there's still great big, you know, chunks of this missing. But I think I might give it a shot, and you know, we're gonna have to change the coloring a bit. I might try and use one of these balls and fill in these sections, these, you know, because I have the basic diamond done, like that's complete. And I might just make each corner a different color and see if we can fill it out. Or I could also try and, so basically just go around and like make some kind of decrease cluster here, and then increase at these corners, so that we could basically make something that could finish this blanket, because I loved this project. So yeah guys, sorry again. Hopefully I can get these balls to kind of stretch out and do that kind of elaborate scheme. Of course, I have no idea what hook this was even done with. Again, days before Ravelry and taking notes, and basically I was probably fairly computer free at this point when I had made this. This is pre-Jeremy, so this project itself is 13, if not older, between 13 and 15, let's say 13, 14 years old. Because I know it was pre-children. I want to say I was not expecting any of my own when I was doing it. Because I can remember another reason that I never finished it was because I was getting so limited on this yarn. And, you know, today I can possibly find more. I know that we had gone to a store sometime and we had found, I want to say they were smaller balls than this, and that's why I didn't purchase it at like a Shopko or Pomida or something like that, because I don't remember what they were, but I was surprised to find yarn in such a store. But yeah, I found it, but I wasn't for sure it was the right stuff, and I didn't know the exact colors, dye-lots, whatever that I needed, and I knew I needed to check that because it was not, you know, I don't even remember where this yarn came from. I want to say it was like Walmart, but I can't even tell you that because children wipe your memory away. So that was another reason it did not ever get finished, and I just wish this blanket had a happier story. But I'm gonna see if I can get somewhere with what is left of this sometime. Now this isn't even going to be immediate because I'm on a crochet band until Thanksgiving. Oh, that would be quite the band. Until Easter. And so I'm not even going to look at this project again until after Easter. But at least I have hope now. It's still been quite the emotional roller coaster. And then I had, this stuff was the yarn. Oh, that's still the projects I already showed you. This is all the yarn that was in that box that I'm not exactly sure what happened to it. It was also the box that at our old house sat under a window that the cats like to sit on. I want to say that I had cleaned it out and refilled it before we moved. So I'm not 100% sure, again, what happened to that box. But since I'm not 100% sure that the stuff hasn't been infested or something to some extent, I mean, most of it looks okay. And from what I could tell, except for the couple things that looked like something had been spilled on it, which are not in this pile, they're by the sink, because it was just like on the top surface. So they were easy to clean. But yeah, when I do get back to crocheting, I'm going to start with these yarns for those pet mats. We'll get the yarn cleaned up and used in those and sent off, since that will, you know, I don't want to waste the yarn and throw it out. And that would be a good way to get it out of here and, you know, do something productive with, you know, a lot of this is, sorry, my hand over the mic again, what I call icky acrylics, but like this one's not so bad. And sorry, this is probably 100% acrylic. Feels like it probably is. That one's not too bad. Some of this is also from this blanket. There was a bag, but that bag looked like it had gotten whatever spilled on it, so I had thrown. Was that one just sticky? I think that just had a sticky side or something. I don't remember. So I had gotten rid of the bag, and now it's all mixed together. There was some really nice stuff. Well, see, look. How old is, I'm pretty sure this is Walmart. I don't think they sell it in this size anymore. Yeah, old stuff, guys. Oh, I bet if this is Karen, like I think it is, Simply Soft, I bet this is from my sister's stuff from Maxwell, which is her oldest, who turns about 14. So, like, just wanted to make one more note about these tubs. Probably a good 60-70% of them is really interesting yarn that I had gotten from my aunt. Her church ladies wanted to donate to me when I originally moved out to with my husband. Of course, at that time he wasn't my husband, but when I originally flew the nest, so to speak, they had donated me a huge garbage sack full of yarns, and 90% of it did not have any label on it. Today I can look at some of it and go, well, this is probably a really old wool yarn that actually is still hanked and like, you know, could be used maybe in a rug, but not really good for anything that I was making at the time. A lot of it is like ruggy style yarn, or yarns that people would probably make slippers out of, which again is never something I've really been into. They were not yarns, which basically 90% I would say of my younger yarning life, like I said, I've been crocheting for a wee bit, guys. Yeah, I turn, what, 35 this year? Yeah, so I have been crocheting approximately about 30 of those years. I mean, not consistently or not as feverishly as maybe current, but there is some stash in here that is, you know, decently old. And some of this stuff is older than I am, like the stuff in my grandma's stuff. But yeah, so don't think I'm hoarding yarn or something. I've gotten a lot of this yarn that I just didn't know what to do with, or as I showed with that one baby blanket, I have worked 90% through a project, and then life has gotten in the way, and you know, it's hard, like I said before, to admit defeat, and there's still a level of me that refuses to accept defeat. So I am still brainstorming, like I said, on the blanket. I've put it in this bag, so it's in quote unquote a project bag, because I am determined to not let it pull me down, even though it did quite heavily this week. But I have one other thing I'm going to show you a little bit of admitting defeat with upstairs and the current works in progress, but I need to deal with my littles. Okay guys, I've got the littles in their chairs, and they're eating apples, so we'll go to the final thing that is our admitting defeat for this weekly whip, and this is the project I will be working on while they're finishing up snack. This is Sam Sock, and if you may recall, I said I was going to try and do this clover stitch pattern with the sock? Well, for starters, I do not have the right needle to do it, just because I lost all my sock needles somehow, and the one that would actually work with this broke. So we got these. I had ordered the ChowGoo, but since Sam is still a little kid, a 9-inch circular proved to be too small. Let's see if I can get. So this is the ChowGoo, which I really do like the ChowGoo. And apparently they make this in an interchangeable set. But I just got this to try out to see if I liked 9-inch circulars, which I liked it fine, except for the fact that his sock isn't 9 inches wide, so I was still having to basically magic loop it, and that's really hard to do on such a tiny surface. And I guess it wouldn't be a true magic loop, although it was kind of, I don't know. I basically was having to work a little piece at a time and move it over, and a little piece at a time and move it. So my husband went out and got me, this is the ones at Hobby Lobby. So I think Ella, you were saying that you had gotten these, and I just want to warn you that these are not a good sock needle, because they have this gap here between the join and the needle, and these are just the Yarnology or Knitology, I don't remember, but just the Hobby Lobby ones. Apparently my husband said this was the only size 1 needle that they had, which kind of surprised me. So he couldn't even pick like between, maybe, you know, some just have a better join than others, but this is the only one they had, so that's the one he got me. So what I've done is I've basically worked this on 2 separate needles, so that I can do this project still. But where I admit defeat is I am not experienced enough at knitting, and knitting fingering weight yarn to do pattern cuffs. So I just did 8 rounds of basic stockinette, which is just knitting in the round for 8 rows, and now I'm going to do a cuff for about 10 rows. I'm on row 6, so I'll be ready to start row 7 on my cuff. I've done a 3x1 rib because I heard a lot of people highly suggesting that for a rib, and so that's all I've done. Because yeah, I was too ambitious, and the problem is I think I can do everything except for the decreases. Like, I struggle to do decreases on normal weight yarn, and doing it with the fingering weight and the small needle, it wasn't gonna happen. So it was a nice thought that I had that I'd be able to do it, but it's just not something I am ready for at this point, and maybe sometime. But right now we're going to keep it basic and just do a nice basic cuff line. But we still have shamrock yarn, so we're still good on our St. Patrick's Day theme here for these socks. Even though, if you will notice, we are past St. Patrick's Day, and Sam was not home for St. Patrick's Day, so I really wasn't in a hurry to get these done, since obviously he wouldn't be wearing them for it. But yeah, so I'm going to work on these guys and probably just go ahead and end this episode for today, because I'm not going to work on really anything else. So yeah, I will make sure to include places you can find me on social media down below. And that's basically it, guys, for this weekly Whip Wednesday. If you like these little weekly vlogs, I'd appreciate it if you would hook the like button and subscribe. Talk to you later, guys.